Bill and Morgan had been friends since elementary school. The boys were in the same class, went out together and attended the same activities, but they were raised in very different families. Bill grew up in a loving family. His father made a good living and his mother was a housewife. Morgan, on the other hand, was raised in a poor family with many children. The father drank a lot and beat his wife, and the boy sometimes got beaten for company. Morgan often ran away from home and slept at friends' houses. Bill's parents always fed him delicious dinners and gave him clothes and shoes. The best part was that Bill and Morgan's birthdays fell on the same day. They almost always celebrated it together like brothers at Bill's house, and they always received the same gifts. Morgan's real parents couldn't remember when any of their children had birthdays at all, and they never threw any parties. When Morgan turned 14, he began working part-time after school. Bill decided to support his friend and started working with Morgan too. When the boys graduated from high school, Bill suggested to his friend to go on a vacation to the sea. Morgan refused to go because he had no extra money and could only count on himself. He planned to save some more money, then move to the big city, settle down there, get a job, and then try to go to college. Bill was well aware of that, but he couldn't deny himself a vacation either, so he went with his good acquaintances and was going to be back in a week. But he never came back. He was caught in a rough current and drowned. His parents took the loss of their only son very hard. Morgan decided to stay in their small town for another year. He just couldn't leave those grief-stricken people who had treated him so well all his childhood. He decided he would visit them every day. He helped in any way he could, took care of the house and gardening, and of course always reminded Bill's family that they were not alone. A year later, Morgan went to college and left to study, but once a month he still visited Bill's parents. They loved him very much as their own, and they always said they had 2 sons. 10 years passed. Morgan graduated from college with honours. Thanks to his diligence and intelligence, he got a job as an intern at a large company, where he took an executive position. His life changed dramatically, with one exception. Once a month, as he used to do when he was a student, he travelled to his hometown. Even now, Morgan was helping his non-native family. Bill's parents were at an age when it was becoming difficult for them to cope with repairs, home maintenance, and so on. When the man visited, he would help them himself, and in his absence, he would hire a helper for them. At first, Bill's father refused this care, but Morgan said sternly that since they considered him their son, he was just doing his duty as a son. Shortly before his 30th birthday, Morgan visited Bill's parents. He wanted to celebrate the day with them. The man woke up in good spirits at their house, where he had spent so much time as a child. In the last 15 years, nothing had changed here. The same smell, the same creak of the stairs, and the sound of the wood in front of the house. Morgan looked at the picture of Bill that stood on his bedside table. He remembered their childhood, all their pranks, and he said that he was sorry he wasn't around now. But despite that, Bill would always be in his heart. Then the man took his morning shower and went down to the kitchen. Bill's mother was making pancakes, and Morgan noticed that she was a little excited. But he had no idea that tonight she had decided to tell him a secret that she and her husband had kept for 30 years. In the evening, the little family sat around the round table. Morgan felt that there was some tension in the air and decided to cheer up the elderly people, saying that he would always be with them, that it hurt him to think about Bill, and that he loved them very much. At these words, the elderly woman cried and finally told him a secret. 30 years ago, 2 twin boys were born in their town. One of the twins was diagnosed with a heart defect immediately after birth. His mother, unwilling to take care of the sick child, abandoned him. This boy's name was Bill. At the same time, a childless couple coming to terms with the impossibility of having their own child decided to adopt him, and their choice fell on Bill. They felt very sorry for the sick baby, and they weren't frightened by his diagnosis and immediately decided to adopt him. As they were doing the paperwork, they accidentally found out about his brother, and so it happened that the brothers lived in different families. Morgan could not hold back tears. Now he understood why he felt brotherly love for Bill. The man had no idea what to do with this truth yet, but one thing he knew for sure. He was very grateful to this family for their great love they had given him, and for a happy childhood, no matter what.